Elon's business empire is becoming all the more intertwined. So this has been, sort of a case on and off for years. We can think back to, say, the Tesla Solar City acquisition, and that's going back quite a ways. But, in this case, it would be Tesla, his most valuable company investing in sort of his up and comer, and one where he's, spent an awful lot of time and energy focused on lately as Tesla's electric vehicle sales have been slowing. He's been really sort of dead set on taking on OpenAI and sort of standing up a competitor to ChatGPT. And as with all the companies in this space, spending an awful lot of money to try and compete in that realm.
So where do we stand here in terms of kind of how investors are viewing their investment in Tesla? Are they invested in a auto company? Are they invested in an AI company? Are they invested just in Elon Inc.? How do they think about it these days?
Yeah, I mean, I think Musk has been trying for several years now to sell and position Tesla as much more than just a car company, right? And it's definitely in the energy space and has a battery business to show for that. And in AI, he's talked a big game about developing self-driving technology. He's not gotten there yet. As we've seen with the company, starting to offer rides in Teslas around Austin, Texas, they still have, Tesla employees in the front passenger seat to sort of take over in events where, the cars have not been able to handle, navigating the streets on their own. And yet with SpaceX, I think interestingly, for them to have just pumped $2 billion into XAI, I think there's a little bit of FOMO on the part of some in the Tesla shareholder base, where they've seen XAI go from not all that valuable a startup to suddenly an extremely valuable startup, and they feel like they've missed out on some of this appreciation and want in on that.
So with all that said, Craig, I mean, does Musk support a merger between XAI and Tesla, or maybe XAI and SpaceX? You mentioned SpaceX too.
He says he does not, and I think there's been talk about this for years, right? That on and off again, there's been questions as to whether or not Musk is sort of stretched too thin and doing too much. Would it make more sense to turn his companies into one and sort of think about it as sort of the General Electric of the new age, right? Which is kind of fascinating because, of course, that didn't work out too well for GE, and yet even some of Musk's own allies have sort of alluded to viewing him and his empire as sort of a modern day General Electric. So. He did take pains to say on X that he does not support a full-blown merger of Tesla and XAI, but he has, signaled on there multiple times now that he would be in favor of Tesla putting money in, and that's of course a proposition that could be helpful if XAI continues to grow its valuation. We should note, however, that our colleagues have reported just in the last month or so that XAI has been burning through about $1 billion a month. So this is a company that is really sort of cash hungry and needy as it's trying to stand up a business, with all of this capability.
Yeah, and Craig, it's been, I don't know, a month or two since Elon Musk left the U.S. government, Doge. Is there any evidence that he is meaningfully engaging with Tesla?
I think he's messaging more about, sort of what Tesla's up to than he was while he was in Washington. He did also post just within the last day that, he was in Tesla's design studio and sort of hyped up how excited he was about what he saw. But, the company is sort of in this really sort of challenging state from a sales perspective. And you've sort of gotten indications that, well, maybe he doesn't necessarily fully have his finger on the pulse, in the sense that he told us just within the last few months that sales have turned around. A couple months later, the company reports that its vehicle deliveries had fallen 13% in the second quarter. So either he was, not necessarily up to speed on the state of sales, or perhaps he was more optimistic that they were going to be able to turn things around than they ultimately were able to last quarter.